Hello, this is AstrologerCoach Sonja Francis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming powerful full moon, which is also a lunar eclipse. It's going to be a total lunar eclipse in 14 degrees of Libra on April 4th at 8:06 a.m. East Coast time in the US, which is also New York time, or 5:06 a.m. Pacific time in the US, which is also LA time. Now, this is a much more intense energy because it's an eclipse, much more intense than a regular full moon. And 2 weeks ago, we had a solar eclipse, which was a new moon, which was also a much more powerful new moon. So this usually there's an eclipse that follows or comes before another eclipse. So they usually come in pairs or in triplets. And this one is coming in a pair. So solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. And so these eclipses are really a very powerful way for us to get a consciousness upgrade, to download new information, to discard or let go of old information that's no longer serving us. And this particular eclipse is a culmination of the last eclipse that happened in October of 2014, which was in Aries. And there's something that we're seeing that we're becoming aware of, in particular something related to the roles that we identify with, to our one-on-one relationships, how we relate to other people. So you can ask yourself, what have you discovered since last fall, since last October, in regards to that? In regards to relating with others, or what kind of role you play in your life with other people. Now, lunar eclipses always put the attention towards the emotional body. So we're becoming more aware of something that has either been suppressed or ignored, or something that's been simmering underneath the surface, and now it becomes more, we become more fully aware of that, and it comes more into the forefront. And so it's really important with these eclipses to really get ready for some big shifts. And with this lunar eclipse, this big shift is connected to relationships of all kind, right? So it could be a personal relationship, it could be a business relationship, any kind of one-on-one relationship that you have with other people. Now, questions you can ask yourself with this lunar eclipse is, where do you need to have more balance in your life? And what roles and contracts need to be redefined or released in regards to the relationships in your lives, right? Now, the last lunar eclipse that happened in 14 degrees of Libra, in the exact same degree that this lunar eclipse is in, was back in April of 1996. And before then, the one before then was in 1977, because these eclipses always happen in 19-year cycles. I already mentioned this in my last video when I talked about the solar eclipse, right? So for those of you who watched that, you probably remember that. Now think back to those periods. Think back to April of 1996, or even the year of 1996, or the year 1977. What was important in your life in those years? And where are you being called right now to make some major changes, right? And where have you been called to make major changes at that time? So it will always resonate back to that time, because of the degree of the eclipse being in exactly the same degree. So especially if you have any personal planets or angles within 5 degrees of the eclipse, then you're definitely going to resonate very strongly with the eclipse, which means that you're also going to resonate more strongly to those dates as well. These 19-year cycles are very important for you, right? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to understand that and how to know whether you have points or angles within those 5 degrees later in the video, okay? So as I already mentioned in the solar eclipse video 2 weeks ago, eclipses definitely have a strong focus on endings and beginnings, because endings and beginnings usually are connected with allowing us to move forward in our evolution. So we're letting go of certain things that's no longer serving our evolution, and we're stepping more fully into something that's serving our evolution and the next level of our soul's journey. And so as best as you can, allow that to take place. Trust that whatever is leaving or falling apart is making way for something better in your life right now. And the more open we are to these changes and shifts, the easier it will be to go to that next level. And that next level is always going to be something that is going to feel more fulfilling, and that is ultimately going to create more happiness in your life. So it really serves us to remain open and to allow the energy to kind of move us and move through us. It's like we're getting an upgrade, right? It's like when you give your computer an update and you have to wait until the upgrade is fully completed before you continue working with the computer, because you can't really use the computer while it's downloading the upgrade, right? So it's kind of like that, right? On a more soul level kind of level, right? With humans. So of course, all of this is going to resonate more with you if you do have these personal planets and angles within 5 degrees of the eclipse. And I will talk about that in more detail at the end of this video. So let's go back to the lunar eclipse. There's a lot of things going on in connection to this eclipse that are very interesting. So the polarity of a full moon is always the sun is on one side, the moon is on the other side, right? So the sun in this eclipse is in Aries, and it's connecting to Uranus, Mercury, and the South Node in Aries. And this gives us the message about redefining our understanding of assertion and independence, redefining how we communicate our sense of self. You know, what is important to us? How do we talk about that? In what way, shape, or form? How do we go about it? And we may need to shift something around that. Now, it's very useful to allow the higher vibrations of Aries to shine right now. Things like courage, openness towards the new, directness, development of a healthy sense of identity. All these are very beautiful things that we want to tap into. We don't want to obsess about them, but we want to really allow that to flow inside of us. Now, the moon at the time of the lunar eclipse aligns with the North Node in Libra. And this indicates that there is an emotional resolution of some sort that is going to occur. Now, this could be healing a memory around relationships, making a new emotional connection, moving into a new home, starting a family of some sort, or maybe focusing on more on that Libra energy, which has to do with collaboration with others, objectivity, consideration of two different sides of a subject or between two people, creating win-win situations, equality, balance, justice. These are all things that we're really seeking right now, and that are very important for our soul's evolution on a collective level, but also on an individual level. Now, the other thing about this eclipse is that Pluto in Capricorn is the focus point of a T-square with Uranus, Sun, Mercury in Aries, and the Moon in Libra. So this is stressing the importance of transformation at this time of the lunar eclipse. So we're really being invited to transform anything that doesn't serve us any longer. We're being invited to empower ourselves and to look to see where are we not empowered right now in regards to what we're building and what we're moving towards long term, on a collective level and on an individual level, right? So anything that doesn't serve us any longer, we need to take a look at the shadow of things, what's unconscious, what's underneath of things that we're ignoring or suppressing. We need to bring light to that. We need to bring consciousness to that. We also need to look at what's toxic in our lives. What is toxic, or what feels like a poison inside of us? Fears, habits, behaviors, the way we do things. We need to take a look inside. It needs to transform from the inside out, right? And so this T-square with Pluto really adds a clear message to this eclipse, which is that we need to let go of anything that doesn't empower us from the inside out. And we need to really step more fully into this place of feeling in alignment with ourselves fully and completely, letting go of all the toxicity so we can advance our soul's journey, so we can really fully step into our soul's journey. Now, that also means, because Pluto is in Capricorn, that deep structural changes have to occur in our lives, collectively speaking and individually speaking. So you can ask yourself, what am I building long term that supports my soul purpose? And what am I building that isn't, or that doesn't serve it, right? That doesn't support it. So we always, of course, on a collective level, the things will occur collectively when we're ready, when we bring enough individual movement and energy towards the collective, that the collective has to shift, right? So it's almost like a numbers game, right? So that's why it's so important that each of us does the work, that each of us really takes a look at, okay, what am I doing? How is this looking inside of me? What's my reality of that? How can I shift it? Because when enough people do that on an individual level, the collective automatically is going to shift. Now, another question that you can ask yourself with this placement is, what role does fear play in my life? Where do I have attachments out of fear? Where do I grip out of fear? And where do I protect myself by putting up a wall or the pretense that I'm untouchable out of fear? Because what we do a lot of times is, when we're scared, we sort of like protect ourselves by sort of like creating these places where we pretend that we are empowered. But really underneath of that, it might be some vulnerability or some fear. And we're not really allowing ourselves to fully step into this place of love. The power of love is so much more important than anything else that we can portray to the world or that we can connect with in the world, because when you come from that strength that connected to love rather than fear, you are really truly powerful, because then it comes from the inside out, right? So one thing with this Pluto placement too is that because it's the focus point of a T-square, we always want to look to the opposite side of that focus point, which would be in Cancer. Now, Cancer is all about self-care. So it is very important that we take care of ourselves so that we can accomplish all the things that we're here to do, so that we can build the things that we want to build that are in alignment with our passion, with our soul purpose. So we need to really take good care of ourselves, and we need to listen to what we need and what we want internally, right? That feeling body needs to be honored. And as best as you can, remember also during the time of the eclipses that everyone is experiencing the eclipse one way or another. So some of us may feel overwhelmed. Some of us may feel anxious. It is a lunar eclipse, which means it's a powerful full moon, which means it's connected to our emotional world. It's connected to relationships. It's connected to something that plays out between me and someone else, or between polarities. So there may be some kind of stuff going on for each one of us, right? And some of us may even have vertigo, because this lunar eclipse is in Libra, which is all about trying to find our balance, right? So we may feel this like, ooh, I can't quite find it, right? So it's best as you can be compassionate with yourself and others. And if someone is not returning your call, it's not personal. It's just that maybe they're not able to because they're in their own vertex at that time, right? So some other layers of this eclipse, it's a full calendar for this eclipse. Mars, which rules Aries, and Venus, which rules Libra, where the sun and the moon are at the time of the eclipse, they're both in Taurus at the time of the eclipse. So this gives us the message that we really need to value ourselves, we need to appreciate ourselves, we need to bring affection to our being and doing, and we need to honor our own physical bodies, as well as honoring the planet that we live on. So, on an individual level, our body is our temple, and if we take care of that, then if we have a healthy relationship to our physical body, then we usually can also, we're more resourceful, and we can feel better in the world, and we can do things with more vitality. Well, this is also true on the collective level. The planet that we live on is our body. It's our temple that we live on. And if we take care of this planet, if we make sure that this planet is healthy and has vitality, then we will have more resources from that planet that we can that we can then utilize and use in such a way that we can be more healthy and more fulfilled and happier. So it's all, it's all connected. The physical body, it's all connected, right? The planet, our own physical bodies, all that. Now, Venus is making an aspect to Chiron at the time of the lunar eclipse, which gives us the opportunity to be compassionate with ourselves and others, and to heal our wounds and insecurities around love, relationships, and our own sense of self-worth. It's very important that we understand that love is not just something that we get from somebody else or something that we give to somebody else, but it's also something that we're giving to ourselves. And if we're not giving love to ourselves, it's very difficult to have a loving relationship. So, and it's also what helps us be strong and create healthy boundaries within our relationships and in life. So it's very important to take a look at the inner experience and the inner relationship that we have with ourselves, because the inner always reflects the outer. And so it's very important to keep that focus on what we're feeling and what we're experiencing inside. And we can ask ourselves, how does the outer reflect what's going on inside of us? Whatever you experience in the outside world, what does that say about you? What does that say about your inner experience? Or what does that say about your relationship with yourself? And how are you treating yourself? Are you treating yourself with love? Are you treating yourself with respect? Do you honor what you need and what's important to you? Do you honor yourself, your body, your feelings, your spirit, your mind? All these levels and layers. Do you honor yourself? How do you treat yourself? Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about with this eclipse, and I know it's a lot today, Jupiter is moving slower than usual at the time of the lunar eclipse because it's preparing to go direct on April 8th, which is only 4 days after the eclipse, because it's been retrograde for the past 5 months. And so this means that the energy of Jupiter is really exalted at the time of the eclipse. And so we're really releasing limiting beliefs and ways of thinking about ourselves right now. And we really want to get to the truth of the matter. We want to understand how we can better shine our light for ourselves and in the world. And we want to also share our unique gifts and express ourselves from a place of joy and love, and in an authentic way, in a way like, how children share themselves. They don't lie about who they are. They just say it as it is, and they just are who they are. And that's kind of that energy. We're trying to get back to that place of like being able to really express who we are from that authentic, joyful place. Now, Jupiter in Leo makes some very creative aspects to other planets in the lunar eclipse chart. And so this is giving us a go-ahead to find creative ways to connect to that Aries-Libra polarity. And so that means that we're finding this flow of bringing a young and exciting approach to our collaborations with others. And we're finding ways to negotiate from a heartfelt place, maybe even from a humorous one, because Jupiter is all about humor, and especially in Leo, it's about having fun, right? Now, anyone with planets and angles in Leo in their birth chart feels especially optimistic and ready to take a leap of faith, especially if you have them in the mid to late degrees of Leo right now. Now, if this is true for you, if you feel, if you have that in your chart, then you feel especially inspired to be creative and get in touch with your heart's desire, okay? Now, something very profound is happening to us clearly with this eclipse. We're having an opportunity to change our lives for the better, to change our relationships for the better. And it's very important to remember that this is a process and not an event. It's not something that's just happening on the day of the eclipse. It's a process that is unfolding, especially very strongly the first 2 weeks after the eclipse. But then also it keeps unfolding until the next eclipse, set of eclipses that will happen in 5.5 to 6 months, okay? So do your best to observe what needs to happen for you in your life, within your relationships. And if you want to make the best out of this, look to see what's working, what isn't, and look to see what needs to change and shift. And you know, when I say look to see what's working, what isn't, it's not about judging it. It's really more about observing it and creating an opening around that and seeing like, oh, this is interesting. You know, coming at it with curiosity and coming at it with a matter of objectivity in a sense to see, oh, I guess this is not working, you know, or I guess this is working really great. So just be open to observing that. And really allow for this eclipse to change something in your life, you know, or in your relationships, and align yourself with your higher purpose, you know, with this. Now, eclipses are Uranian in nature, so anything can really happen between now and April 18th. It's something I've already said in the solar eclipse video as well. So as best as you can, don't jump the gun on anything. If something happens organically, then that's great. But if you feel compelled to do something that comes from a place of fear or urgency or anxiousness, then as best as you can, just observe, you know, and watch it, and you know, just take a step back when that happens, you know, especially if you're ambivalent about something, if you're not sure about an action, but you feel this sort of like antsiness inside of you, you know, just take a deep breath at that moment, just stay back and maybe wait until April 18th to do something about it. But if there's things that happen organically, of course, then, you know, don't stop your life completely from doing things. It's really about more observing where this is coming from, right? Where are the actions coming from, right? So eclipse season will end on April 18th, like I said before. If you do have any personal planets or signs in 10 to 18 degrees of Libra, Aries, Cancer, or Capricorn, then you're certainly going to feel the effects of this eclipse more strongly. However, even if you don't have personal planets in those degrees and signs, the house placement of the transiting sun and moon of wherever the eclipse falls in your birth chart is going to be equally as important. And these natal houses in your birth chart that are affected by the eclipse indicate areas of your life that are up for development at this time, and this is something that can unfold for you beginning with the eclipse, with the lunar eclipse, all the way to the next eclipse that will happen in about 6 months from now. So the best way to find out if you do have personal planets or angles or points in those degrees and those signs that I've been mentioning throughout the video is to watch my video that's called How to Read Your Birth Chart. It's available on YouTube and on my website, but you can also email us at info@astrologercoach.com, and we will mail you a high-res copy of that video with handouts to your email address. And all you have to do is just email us and put recording in the subject line, okay? And then that way we know that that's what you want, and we'll send that to you, all right? Now, I just want to make one quick announcement, which is that I'm super, super excited about these 2 live events that I have coming up in the end of May and June. They're both going to be amazing events, both of them different in nature, so you can actually attend both of those events. One of them will be the Sedona retreat on Memorial Day weekend called The Life of the Soul. It's a 4-day retreat that I'm going to be doing together with the amazing energy healer and rock whisperer Krista Ann Mitchell, which I'm super excited about. We've done it last year. It was amazing. It was such a success. And so I'm really excited to be going back and doing that again this year. If you want more information about this retreat, feel free to watch my video or Krista's video that we've both recorded a video about the Life of the Soul retreat so that you can get a better idea of what you're stepping into if you want to join us. Both of them are available on YouTube and on both of our websites. Krista's website is rockwhisperernyc.com and my website is astrologercoach.com, and you can go to the Sedona retreat page and there you will find all the information and the video. Now there is an early bird special that is still available until the end of March. So if you do want to join us, I would say take advantage of that generous discount. It's a really wonderful discount. So it's going to be really, really fantastic. Now the other live event I'll be doing will be in New York City, which is one of my most favorite places because I've lived there for 20 years before I moved to Chicago. And I'm so excited to be going back there in June 20 and 21st. That will be a 2-day weekend workshop. And for more info, again, feel free to watch my video about this workshop, which will also be on YouTube or on my website. You can go to the weekend courses page that will have that other video. And I will be teaching other things for this workshop. So you can do the workshop in Sedona, you can do the workshop in New York. Both of them will be equally as exciting and wonderful. And for both of these courses, I just want to mention too, is that prior astrological knowledge is not required for either one of these courses. However, it's not a disadvantage either. So if you have studied astrology before, then definitely feel free to join us. It's going to be amazing either way, because you can deepen what you've already learned, or you can just start learning right from ground zero, right? So it's going to be amazing. And you can go to my website to check out the early bird specials for both of those courses on my website. And if you want to join me on Twitter or Facebook, I always post daily forecasts, weekly forecasts, videos on both of those places on the social media. And it's a great way to stay in touch with me. I also have a newsletter that I send out twice a month. So if you want to sign up for that newsletter, you can do that on my, via email. To send me an email to info@astrologercoach.com and put newsletter in the subject line. And then my assistant will send you directions on how to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any general questions about astrology, feel free to contact me at Sonja@astrologercoach.com. That's SONJA @astrologercoach.com. I'm always happy to answer general questions. If it is a personal question about you and you want me to pull up a chart for you, then please be so kind and go to my website and book a reading so that I can really honor my time and your time and give you a valuable reading with looking at your chart and really being able to give you a more concrete answer to your questions, okay? So that's what's available. Have a fantastic lunar eclipse. And this is Astrologer Coach Sonja Francis. Goodbye. Have a good one.